afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Renee Fong and you're watching Updates at Noon. Our headlines for today: Malaysia sends aid to Turkey for assistance in earthquake SAR missions. US Coast Guard sets up security zone to search for Chinese spy balloon. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has declared a 7-day period of national mourning in response to yesterday's earthquakes that killed at least 3,600 people and injured thousands others. Tayyip Erdogan said on Twitter that the Turkish flag will be hoisted at half-mast until sunset on Sunday, 12 February, in all its country and foreign representations. Turkey's Disaster and Emergency Management Presidency, AFAD, said that nearly 9,700 search and rescue personnel have been working in the region. AFAD also said there is no tsunami threat to the eastern Mediterranean coasts in Turkey. Turkey's National Education Minister Mahmut Özer said education in Turkey is suspended until 13th February. Meanwhile, Turkey's Youth and Sports Minister Mehmet Kasapoglu said all national sports events in the country have been suspended until further notice. AFAD in a statement said that Turkey issued a level 4 alarm, which includes a call for international aid. AFAD said that international assistance was called for through the Emergency Response Coordination Center ERCC after a discussion with the Turkish Foreign Ministry. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and the Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Haja Aziza Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria have expressed their condolences to the governments and the people of Turkey and Syria following the massive earthquake which hit the two countries yesterday. Their Majesties also expressed their sympathies to the families of the people who were killed in the earthquake, which had also caused extensive damage to property and infrastructure. Their Majesties are saddened over the loss of lives in the tragedy and hoped that families of the victims will remain patient and calm in these trying moments. According to Istana Negara, in this hour of grief, Their Majesties and Malaysia stand in solidarity with the people of Turkey and Syria and pray that the victims who are still trapped under the rubble will be rescued immediately and those injured will be granted a speedy recovery. Following the disaster, Al-Sultan Abdullah called on all mosques and surau nationwide to hold Solat Sunat Hajat, including Doa Selamat and the absentee funeral prayer for those who died in the quake. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has also conveyed his condolences to the families of the victims as well as to all countries affected by the deadly earthquake that hit the Kahramanmaraş province in southern Turkey. In his posting on Facebook, Datuk Seri Anwar said he is deeply saddened by the huge loss of lives, injuries and massive destruction following the 7.8 magnitude earthquake, which also caused massive destruction and huge casualties in neighbouring countries. According to the Foreign Ministry, no Malaysians were reported to be affected by the earthquake so far. The massive earthquake knocked down multiple buildings in southeast Turkey and Syria early Monday. The quake, which hit in the early darkness of a winter morning, was followed by a second 7.7 quake in the middle of the day on Monday, as rescuers in both countries were still attempting to search for survivors. Malaysia has deployed 70 personnel from 3 agencies to aid in the search and rescue SAR mission in Turkey following the devastating earthquake, which has claimed at least 3,600 lives. The personnel comprise members of the elite Special Malaysia Disaster Assistance and Rescue Team SMART, the Hazardous Material Unit, K9 Dog Tracker Unit, Fire and Rescue Department, as well as the medical team from the Armed Forces Royal Medical Corps. Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir said Malaysia's swift action in deploying the rescue team was done upon the directive of Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim on humanitarian grounds and Malaysia's close ties with Turkey.
Kita hendaklah bekerja bersama-sama dalam memastikan misi yang akan kita lakukan ini benar-benar dapat mencapai matlamatnya, maksudnya pergi ke kawasan-kawasan yang telah pun ditentukan oleh pihak berkuasa Turki. Dan seperkara lagi juga saya ingin maklumkan bahawa pihak Wisma Putra akan mengkoordinasi dari segi gerak kerja bersama dengan pihak Nadma di bawah Datuk Amizan dan juga di pihak embassy Turki dan juga dengan pihak embassy kita di sana bagi memastikan supaya koordinasi ini dapat dibuat dengan lancar, dengan baik tanpa menimbulkan sebarang kesulitan.
Speaking to reporters at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA last night said the Foreign Ministry will also assess whether any additional aid is needed apart from the number of SAR personnel. Malaysia, he said, will first assess the situation at the affected areas before deciding to deploy additional aid. Malaysia-operated Istanbul SAHIH Gökçen International Airport is playing a key role in the rescue efforts following the deadly earthquake in Turkey. According to Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad MAHB, the SAHIH Gökçen Airport was one of 2 airports designated by the Turkish government to serve as a rescue and logistics hub. MAHB Managing Director Dato' Iskandar Mizal Mahmud said, as the airport operator, it was giving its full commitment to facilitate all rescue flight and cargo operations passing through the airport. He said the General Aviation Terminal at the airport is currently being utilised as a crisis management centre, with the airport providing all necessary support, including food for the rescue team. Dato' Iskandar also said that the first rescue flight departed at 8:41 a.m. local time, and since then, 6 other rescue flights had departed from SAHIH Gökçen International Airport, carrying a total of 1,400 rescue team members. Mosques under the supervision of the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, JAKIM, namely Masjid Negara in Kuala Lumpur, Masjid Putra and Masjid Tuanku Mizan Zainal Abidin in Putrajaya, will hold Solat Sunat Hajat later this evening for the well-being of all those affected by the deadly earthquake in Turkey and Syria. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Religious Affairs, Datuk Dr. Muhammad Naim Mokhtar, said they would be carried out after Maghrib prayer. In a statement, Datuk Dr. Muhammad Naim said all mosques and surau under the supervision of the Federal Territory Islamic Religious Department, JAWI, are also asked to hold the same prayers. He said the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah has called on mosques in this country to hold Solat Sunat Hajat to ease the burden of those affected by the calamity in Turkey and Syria and to grant them patience. Coming up next, PH has yet to decide on accepting former UMNO members. Pakatan Harapan has yet to decide if it will accept former UMNO members who have expressed their desire to join one of the parties in the coalition. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, who is also PH chairman, said this matter would be discussed with UMNO leaders soon, out of respect for UMNO, which is part of the unity government.
We haven't made any decision. We take note of the fact that some ex-UMNO members have expressed their intention to join. We will discuss with the UMNO leaders in due course.
On 27th January, UMNO sacked 44 members, including former Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, for offences committed during the 15th general election last November. Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg wants the Chinese business community to cooperate with Bumiputras to develop areas in Kuching, Samarahan and Serian in line with the Greater Kuching Development Strategy planned by the state government. He said that through the establishment of the Greater Kuching Development Agency, the state government had allocated a total of 1.5 billion ringgit to develop all three areas in terms of the agriculture sector like smart agriculture, modern agriculture and the tourism sector. Tan Sri Abang Johari said these areas will be improved in terms of mobility where autonomous rail transit ART will be operating in. He also said that the state government is implementing modern transportation powered by hydrogen because it wants to develop a smart city that is less polluted. Tan Sri Abang Johari said this in his speech at the Chinese New Year celebration organised by the Kuching, Samarahan and Serian Chinese Associations in Kuching last night. He said the development idea was also acknowledged by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim as a well-planned urban development. In our foreign front, firefighting planes dispatched to combat Chile. The U.S. Coast Guard yesterday imposed a temporary security zone in waters of South Carolina during the military search and recovery of debris from a suspected Chinese spy balloon shot down by a U.S. fighter jet. The White House said it would maintain a calm approach to relations with Beijing. US President Joe Biden said it was always his view that the balloon needed to be shot down. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said the balloon's flight over the United States had done nothing to improve already tense relations with China and dismissed Beijing's contention that it was for meteorological purposes as straining credulity. The appearance of the Chinese balloon caused a political uproar in the United States and prompted top US diplomat Antony Blinken to cancel a trip to Beijing that both countries hoped would steady their rocky relations. Beijing condemned the shooting down of the balloon as an obvious overreaction and urged Washington to show restraint. US officials have played down the balloon's impact on national security, although a successful recovery could potentially give the United States insight into China's spying capabilities. Crews in eastern Ohio, United States conducted operations yesterday to burn off an unstable toxic chemical cargo from 5 rail cars of a freight train that derailed in a ferry wreck 3 days earlier. The controlled release of pressurized vinyl chloride, a highly flammable and carcinogenic gas, began with a scheduled explosion followed by continuous burning of the substance. The train operated by Norfolk Southern Railroad derailed late on Friday, setting off a massive fire that forced evacuation of homes in the immediate vicinity. Vinyl chloride, as a colorless, industrially produced gas that burns easily and is used primarily in the manufacture of polyvinyl chloride, PVC pipe and other products. The precise means by which crews vented the toxic gas was not explained, but the railroad said its workers had prepared drainage pits and embankments, apparently to contain residue from the release. It said state environmental officials would monitor air quality. The company said in a short statement nearly 2 hours after the operation began that the controlled breach of several rail cars has been completed successfully. A firefighting aircraft known as Tanker flew all the way to the rescue of Chilean land yesterday. The aerial firefighting plane released a cloud of red fire retardant designed to keep the dry land from burning, containing wildfires, and has the ability to carry 3 times more payload to an event than other large air tankers. The aircraft was welcomed in Chile by locals and President Gabriel Boric, who pointed out that the 10-tanker can drop a full load of retardant in 4 seconds between 60 and 90 meters above ground level at a speed of 277 kilometers per hour. Chileans are hopeful that joint efforts can put out the fires ravaging their nation. The fires in the country have consumed 270,000 hectares of land and have killed 26 people so far in south-central Chile. The State National Forestry Corporation reported that as of Monday morning, there were 275 active fires. 69 of them were being in combat with firefighters, as authorities said hot and dry weather would continue this week, potentially worsening what are already the deadliest blazes in the country's recent history. Hungary's army moved around Leopard 2A4 tanks for training purposes yesterday in western Hungary, according to a statement by the Defense Ministry without giving more details. Government spokesman Zoltán Kovács said when asked about the moves that the stance of the government was unchanged. Hungary insisted it is not participating in the training of Ukrainian soldiers and is not shipping weapons to Ukraine. 5 Leopard tanks were seen moving on the road near the village of Svalmond, about 75 kilometers west of the capital city of Budapest. Hungary, which shares a border with Ukraine in the east, is a member of NATO. Prime Minister Viktor Orban has said that Hungary has chosen to remain neutral and wants to stay out of the war. Orban has already repeatedly criticized European Union sanctions on Russia, saying they failed to weaken Moscow meaningfully, while they risk destroying the European economy. He said on 27 January that Hungary would veto any EU sanctions against Russia affecting nuclear energy. Hungary has a Russian-built nuclear plant that it plans to expand under an existing contract with Rosatom. Argentina's justice system has sentenced 5 of the rugby players involved in the high-profile murder of Fernando Baez Sosa to life imprisonment, while 3 others received 15 years in prison on yesterday. The court sentenced to life Maximo Thompson, Ciro Petossi, Enzo Tomelli, Matthias Benicelli and Luciano Petossi. Arten Varas, Blas Sinale and Lucas Pertossi received 15-year prison sentences as secondary participants in the same crime. The trial came to an end in the oral criminal court and one of Dolores 3 years and 17 days after the crime occurred. In 2020, the murder of 19-year-old Fernando Baez Sosa shocked the South American nation. Sosa was beaten to death in the coastal resort of Villa Gesell in Buenos Aires province during an altercation with a group of rugby players. At the time, local media reported that the aggressors banded together in the attack on Baez Sosa, even though he was seriously injured on the ground. Baez Sosa died in the hospital on 18th January 2020 of a heart attack caused by a brain injury. Man City charged with over 100 alleged breaches of finance rules. That and more next in sports. The Premier League has referred Manchester City to an independent commission over more than 100 alleged breaches of finance rules since the club were acquired by the Abu Dhabi-based City Football Group. The club, who were acquired by City Football Group in 2008, are also charged with failing to cooperate with and assist in the Premier League in its investigation. City are alleged to have breached rules relating to the provision of accurate financial information, in particular with respect to its revenue, including sponsorships, its related parties, and its operating costs. The charges stem from a Premier League investigation into City's financial dealings launched 4 years ago. In addition to the charges relating to the club's revenue and operating costs, City are also alleged to have not fully disclosed managerial remuneration from from the 2009 to 2010 to 2012 to 2013 seasons when Roberto Mancini was manager. The club are also charged with failing to comply with Premier League's rules requiring clubs to follow UEFA's Financial Fair Play (FFP) regulations, failing to follow the Premier League's rules on profit and sustainability. League rules state that charges such as those faced by City could, if proved, result in a club being expelled from the Premier League in the worst case scenario. Offending clubs may alternately be deducted points, fined, or reprimanded. Former Portugal and Iran coach Carlos Queiroz has worked at the last 4 World Cups and was hired on Monday by Qatar to aim for a 5th straight at the next edition hosted in North America. The Qatar Football Association hired former Real Madrid coach Queiroz until 2026 to take charge of his 7th different national team. As host of the 2022 World Cup, Qatar lost all 3 group stage games on its tournament debut in November. This time it will try to advance past the group stage for the first time. The 2026 edition in the United States, Canada and Mexico is the first 48-team finals tournament, and Asia will have 8 guaranteed qualifying places instead of the previous 4. Queiroz coached Iran at a 3rd straight World Cup together since 2014 and again failed to advance to the round of 16. His team lost to England and the United States, though they beat Wales to place 3rd in their group. Queiroz, who turned 70 on 1st March, coached his native Portugal at the 2010 World Cup and lost in the round of 16 to eventual winner Spain. Qatar, under Queiroz, has 2 continental championships to play in next year. First, with an invitation to the CONCACAF Gold Cup in June. Qatar also hosts the Asian Cup later this year. Paris Saint-Germain's football advisor Luis Campos says he will be delighted if Argentinian superstar Lionel Messi agrees to extend his contract with the French champions. The 35-year-old 7-time Ballon d'Or winner achieved his lifetime ambition of winning the World Cup in December, but has maintained a decent run of form on his return to France. Messi scored a key goal in the 3-1 win over Montpellier and then notched his 10th Ligue 1 goal of the season yesterday as PSG, missing Kylian Mbappe and Neymar through injury, came from behind to beat Toulouse 2-1. Messi joined PSG in 2021 on a 2-year contract with the option of renewing it for another after an emotional farewell to Barcelona, where he had spent his whole professional career. The Ligue 1 champions have known for some time that the 7-time Ballon d'Or winner would see his current deal expire in the summer of 2023. It was always suggested that Messi would wait until after the World Cup finals in Qatar before making a decision on his future, and he returned from West Asia expected to put pen to paper after inspiring his country to global glory. No terms have been agreed as yet amid rumors of the iconic 35-year-old delaying discussions, but Campos insists meetings are taking place. Malaysian professional men's single shuttler Lee Zijia just wants to focus on achieving his best performance level, even though his former coach Indra Wijaya may take legal action against him for alleged breach of contract. The world number 4 ranked player was also perplexed about the whole matter, saying that the two parted ways amicably in November last year. Zijia said the matter, which he confessed has affected his focus on the game, has been handed over to his lawyer for follow-up action.
Apa yang saya boleh cakap adalah saya rasa apa yang saya buat mungkin sometimes akan salah, sometimes akan betul, saya tak tahu. Tapi apa yang sudah saya buat keputusan, itulah keputusan yang sudah jadi. So saya tak boleh ubah ke apa. Tapi yang saya tahu memang kita pisah peacefully. So saya pun tak nak komen terlalu banyak sebab komen banyak salah banyak. Nanti news lagi banyak, saya tak mau.
He said this when met on the first day of centralised training at the Academy Badminton Malaysia ABM in Bukit Kiara. The centralised training camp is in preparation for the national squad participation in the 2023 Badminton Asia Mixed Team Championships BAMTC in Dubai, United Arab Emirates UAE from 14th to 19th February. On his performance, Setia said he is in the process of regaining his confidence after unconvincing performances earlier this year. Basketballer LeBron James returns to Los Angeles on the verge of becoming the NBA's all-time leading scorer after wrapping up a 5-game road trip in New Orleans on Saturday night. King James now needs just 36 points to pass fellow Lakers great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record of 38,387 career points after contributing 27 points in the Lakers' 131-126 loss to the Pelicans. James, 38, has shown no sign of slowing down in his 20th season, where he is averaging more than 30 points per game and made his 19th All-Star game. He will have 2 opportunities to capture this on his home floor next week when the Lakers host the Thunder later today and the Bucks on Thursday. Ticket prices for those games have predictably skyrocketed, and Hollywood's biggest stars are expected to be seated courtside. Fans everywhere are eagerly anticipating the milestone, and the league has said that any game where he has a reasonable chance of breaking the record will be broadcast nationally. At this point, the only question is what kind of shot he will take to seize the A title. Alex Albon said Formula One drivers need more guidance from the governing FIA on what they can say at races this season after a rule change caused concern. The FIA updated the International Sporting Code last December with a clause requiring prior written permission for drivers to make or display political, religious and personal statements or comments. The move has been a pre-season talking point with uncertainty about how it might be applied in practice. Formula One launched its We Race as One diversity, inclusion and sustainability platform in 2020, with drivers gathered on the grid pre-race to express their support with a gesture of their choice. Some drivers, with 7 times world champion Lewis Hamilton, a vocal advocate for human rights and racial equality, chose to take the knee, while others remained standing but wearing t-shirts supporting various causes. The new Formula One season starts in Bahrain on 5th March. And that concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story, Malaysia sends aid to Turkey for assistance in earthquake SAR missions. Do tune in to News at 10 coming up later tonight on saluran Berita RTM. Or you can also stream it via RTM's mobile click app. I'm Renee Fong. Thank you for watching and have a pleasant afternoon.